Okay, we're on the south side of the structure. The home faces east. We're going around counterclockwise. We're in front of the fence. We're going to end up on the other side there. If our battery holds out. And come on along. Now, the code says when the roof comes down and terminates perpendicular to the wall, kick-out flashing should have been installed. And we don't have kick-out flashing, so the water can just run down this and run down your brick. And your brick is porous. A very good building material. This home can burn down. You can use the brick to build another one. Okay? It's a very good insulator. So that's why we build with it. Insulator against and for heat. Insulator for sound. So it's a very good building material. The brick and brick mortar is porous. So water just shoots right through it. So that's why we have weep holes around the perimeter and around our fenestrations. And so there's a drainage plane behind there. Most of the time, the only thing you're going to see, you're not going to see anything. Most of the time it's going to be water vapor coming out of there. If you have an event, I've seen a few events, and water will come out of there. I hope you don't, but that's the case. Now, concrete is continuously shrinking. That's its property. You'll never be able to measure it. Brick is continuously growing. And again, you'll never be able to measure it. That's the only part of your house that grows. Okay? Now, brick and concrete and mortar all have different properties. Okay? So, not only is it growing and shrinking, but it's also expanding and shrinking. Shrinking and expanding. So, long story short, the brick and the concrete are always moving at different rates, depending on the weather, the humidity, the environmental conditions. So, the brick and the concrete expand and contract at different rates. The pressure always comes out at the corner, and so you see these things like this. Some home inspectors call them corner pops. Corner pops. Okay, you can call it that. It's a shrinkage crack, is what it is, because the concrete is shrinking. The poly that they line the sides, they call it flashing down here in Texas. Our drainage plane poly flashing. Okay, hardly ever goes to the corners. The stress comes out, and that's a crack. That is not a foundation problem. This house might have foundation problems. I doubt it. But if we do, I'll call it out. But that's not a foundation problem. I will not use that to evaluate the condition of a foundation. It might be a brick problem. If it falls out, it might not hold a brick up. All right? So now your bricks are falling, and that's not your wall. That's a fascia. So, there's reasons to do that. Also, if this was a termite inspection, this house is too new. Termites haven't gotten a change of address yet. You won't be worrying about that for several years. But, if termites decide to come in, they can take advantage of that crack. If I was doing a WDI, I would be required to call that as a conducive condition. I would be required to call the wood mulch as a condition. Where do termites live? In the ground. What do they eat? Dead wood. What's wood mulch? Dead wood on the ground next to your house. You might want to put rock in here. You might want to leave it. I got some wood mulch next to my house. I tell my wife. She doesn't want to hear about it. So there you go. How do we get off on this? I don't know, because we were talking about the kick-out flashing. Oh, that's it. The kick-out flashing is supposed to kick it out so the water doesn't come across your beautiful but porous brick and compromise, and go into the wall system. Now, over here we've got flashing and counter flashing. I get it. I'd like it better if it was step flashing, but this is good. This is good. Doesn't matter what I like, right? It's acceptable. If I come over here, you see that hole right there? You think wind driven rain can get in there? I do. That's what I think. Wonder if rain could jump right off in there. That should be sealed, and we should have kick-out flashing. And honestly, we should have rain gutter. There isn't any rain gutter around this house. And the code says that all the water being diverted off of your roof covering should be managed so that it goes into a drainage system. It doesn't bother your neighbors. It doesn't pool in your yard. So there's that. Moving on along. Our exterior light fixtures, where they butt up next to the wall. These got little rubber gaskets in them. Okay. So I'd probably prefer to see them sealed, to be honest, because the masonry here at the front is so rough. But they do have rubber gaskets, so again, that kind of meets the minimum. Now that big old speech I just gave to you, okay, we need kick-out flashing here. We do not need kick-out flashing there. It extends out past the wall, where it terminates at the wall. We should have kick-out flashing here as well. But over here, it extends out. And it doesn't end, it doesn't terminate perpendicular to the wall. Now these are lintels over our doors, okay, and windows. And they've been painted. I want to call that to your attention. And then we've got weep holes up there because of the lintels are these metal things that support the brick above them. So we've interrupted the drainage plane. And so now you need weep holes, and you have them. And the lintels are steel. And steel expands, and so we're supposed to have that too. I already told you about the wood mulch. We're going to have a video all about how to help us with the picture of it. We got the masonry up here. We got windows over here. Very nice. What room is this? What room is this? Got a closet and a bathroom, guest bedroom. Okay. So there we go. This is my method. No weep holes over the guest bedroom lintels. How about that? Good to know. We're going along. We have them over the garage. We see our carriage luminaries. Gets the brickwork and the steel. You think water can get in there? I do. This should all be sealed. This should all be sealed. Same way with this one. Now this is the same with the patio in here, but this post is supposed to have a metal stand on it to elevate it up, and bolted to the ground so it's secure, bolted to the concrete, but elevated up enough so that water doesn't wick up and cause rot. It won't happen overnight, of course, but cause rot to come up and compromise the system. We don't know, because we've got these baseboards put around this and on the tank. But over here is the water's coming down through our rain gutters. We got shingles. You got a little metal piece over here called drip edge flashing. And you got a fascia plate. You got a soffit board. And then you got, well, this is kind of a freeze board over a horizontal column. Okay. But what we're talking about is we'll move up past the soffit, because the holes are for your soffit air intake. Move right on up in there. And see the metal underneath the shingles right there? Okay, it doesn't reach over the fascia board. Water can curl 3 inches. So this edge flashing was not installed properly. It's not over the edge of the fascia board. Now this is cruel, but technically, how do you fix it? No solution, no problem. But technically, you should have kick-out flashing there as well. Or, by the way, I wouldn't call it as well. But It'd be nice if there was some kick-out flashing there. And, to be fair, it would be ugly if there was some kick-out flashing there. But that will make the report. I can't come up with a solution for this one. No solution, no problem. Alright, the yard slopes nice down towards the street. Comes up. I mean, this is a unicorn. I'll explain it here once we get past the fence. Okay. Going along. Goes down yonder. I get it. This is a large lot for new construction in North Texas. What's happening right now? This is a pretty large lot. And it's luxurious. And but we've got our grading and our drainage. It just saves. It's going to save me. It's going to save my client. It's going to save the builder a whole lot of conversation. So we come on along here. Still looking at our brickwork. Our brickwork looks good. That's the fresh air induction for the air conditioning system. We already talked about this. One thing we mentioned about it, it's got R410A. That's what they're putting in all the homes right now until they run out of these. They're not buying new 410A systems. They're not manufacturing new 410A systems. And they're not manufacturing 410A refrigerant. I think they can still import it. Alright? So I've been assured by some service techs, and you know they know what they're talking about. You just know they know all what they're talking about. They're all about it. But you should be able to get a reasonable service life average out of this system, even though the refrigerant for it is becoming obsolete. So just heads up about that. You know, there's going to be some discussion. You know, the air conditioning guy comes out next year, he's not going to say a word about it. Air conditioner guy comes out in 3 or 4 years, he's going to say something about it. It's kind of like computers anymore, you know? I hate to say it. We come along here, some of our sealant is pulling away from our window frames. Okay? Sealant gets dry and shrinks. That's why you want to go around the house every year and look at it and reseal it where it needs to be sealed. And this is new. I mean, this house is, and then already it's pulling away from the frame. I'm going to say it's pulling away from the frame because I know it was installed properly. This is called a control joint. Some people call them expansion joints. Call them what you will. Okay? But this is a lot of brick. Okay? We're in North Texas. Look at the ground over there. Look at the ground across the highway. It moves. And we expect the ground to move. So we're planning. If you drive down the street, you'll see lines like this in the street. Those are control joints. Hopefully this takes the pressure of the brick movement so that we don't get those ugly zigzag cracks between the brick and mortar, maybe through it, horizontal cracks. This house will make its own control joint. At that point, it's an expansion joint. Without a control joint, this house will make its own expansion joint. So this is a good thing. And like the windows, we want this stuff sealed. And like the windows, you're going to come around about once a year and just look at it to make sure that it's performing properly. Now these windows, the double pane vinyl frame with UV tint on them, nice windows, okay, sealed. In most places it's peeling away from this window too. This is the primary bedroom suite. This primary bedroom suite, bathroom window, primary bedroom suite windows, okay. Now, these are called weeps, just like the weeps on the brick. If you were able to deconstruct this window, you would see that it's designed at every point to cascade down, to carry moisture away from the structure. And eventually it gets down to the weep, and this will allow moisture to come out of your windowsill. But we get bugs and dirt in them, so to protect them, we put little weirs in here. Alright? You can buy a whole sack of them for $12. Alright? This is the only window that I've noticed, but you're missing one of your weirs. A little weir right there. So we're talking about a 10-cent part. And 10 cents in today's money, that's hardly anything, man. But it's a very inexpensive part. It came with the window. What the only thing, and some windows don't even come with them. They just leave them open by design. But this one by design is supposed to have one. I have heard wind whistle through these. So it could play like a flute. One over here, statistically, your odds are nil. Your odds are nil. I could probably do us all a favor and just shut up about it. That's probably the best thing I could do. Okay, we're moving on along. Then we're coming over here. A little glitch, a little nick in our foundation perimeter. That's not structural. It'd be nice, you know, just aesthetically. So, you know, when your 5-year-old nephew comes over, niece, they come over, what's that? You know, I mean, just so you don't have that conversation. You know, or maybe you don't have anything in common. Maybe you want to leave some little Easter eggs around so that you can talk to them. I don't know. This vertical trim board, it comes down here, but this bottom end is kind of chewed up. Okay, they weren't real careful at that point. And then coming along, we got all of our weirs. But over our windows, we have Z-bar flashing. Some people call it cap flashing. I just did a warranty for a door company. We don't have that over these because we don't have lintels over these because these are not supporting brick. Boy, that is a judgment call. I'm going to say it's okay. But that's my judgment, my reasonable judgment. But when it comes out like here, you got the water coming off. Oh, you don't have any rain gutters. You got the water pouring off. Okay, you should have cap flashing, Z-bar flashing over your windows and over the casement. Over the casement as well. We don't have Z-bar flashing over the casement, cap flashing. It's too late to put it up there without tearing the whole thing off. Maybe that's what needs to happen. I don't know. And then we did put it over the windows. They recognize the need, but the vertical trim board between these 3 windows, it doesn't go up into the window like that. Look at that. I'm sorry. It's kind of rough. Okay. Moving on along. It comes over this one. Comes over this one fine. Now we had a big discussion about water coming off of the roof, okay, on the other side, and we were talking about our our drip edge flashing not going over the fascia board, remember that? But when our drip edge flashing, I get my flashings mixed up, our flashing comes off of this board, okay, it's supposed to be lapped a minimum of 2 inches. Kind of like the stands and kind of like some of these other things. Nothing's going to happen overnight. It will not. I tell you what, enough damage will not happen while your home is within warranty. And I do have a video, a link inside the report of an older home, and you'll see the eventual consequences. What the eventual consequences can or may be if the Z-bar flashing isn't lapped properly. So I'm going to put a ladder. It's windy. I'm going to put a ladder up here if the wind's okay. I don't know if I'm going to walk this or not. It's blowing like it is now. I'm not. Okay. Moving on along. Got our flashing. You think water can get in there? You think this is doing its job? I mean, this is designed to... No. So we need that. Coming on along. Now this lintel, okay, unlike the ones over the guest bedroom, it has weep holes, and like the other lintels we've seen so far, it's painted. And we come over these lintels, and no, they're not sealed or painted. We do have our weep holes, but these lintels, when steel rusts, it expands, and when it expands, it creates pressure on the brickwork. And when it creates pressure on the brickwork, then the stress is going to show up as cracks. So Again, we don't know if there's a stand over there. Again, I am amazed. Okay? No drainage issues on the report. My amazement doesn't stop here. Separation from all the windows. But this is for your fireplace. This is your little flute. This is the only one I've ever seen installed properly. A unicorn. I'm gonna have to take a picture just to show people that it can happen. Moving along, another control joint. These lintels are painted. This pipe right here is for your air conditioning system. It's for your evaporator coil. It's your evaporator coil secondary or emergency drain line pipe. Okay? It's supposed to discharge in an obvious location so that if somebody's walking by the window, they can see the water coming out. And when you see water coming out of that, that's the secondary. That means that the primary, you're on your donut tire. It means that the primary drain is clogged. It means that you have a problem with your air conditioning system. It means that you need to call a technician out. You've got a problem. Because the primary drain got clogged, this drain will get clogged. And then it's going to go through the ceiling. And then it's going to go through the ceiling. I'm coming on along. And this is, remember I promised I was going to end this? I'm going to end it right here.